Hey everyone, today I'm going to be sharing with you an adaptation of 1.14, the Blood Spatter data activity that a lot of your students probably can't do at home. So my students are going to be doing this analysis portion as a group. And this is an activity that I made for my students, sort of breaking down the tasks into 4 group members and having them make a group standard curve at the very end on Google Sheets. First, I do want to say thanks to Heidi Hisrick for giving everyone access to her blood spatter sample, so we didn't have to go and make our own. I just took snippets of this and put it into my little teacher workspace version, which actually I will be sharing in the description box, so you all have access to this if you want to make any changes to anything that I have on the slides. This is the version that contains editable pieces, because the version I have here for the students is actually unmovable. So all of these components, except parts where students have to answer, these are all unmovable because I didn't want students to be moving around the ruler, except for the movable ruler. I didn't want them to be messing with the size of these blood spatters. And you'll notice the way I prepared these, I just put a text box and filled it in with white, so they blocked off certain parts of that page. The reason why I put a ruler here indicating 8.5 inches is because I want students to get an idea of how big this sheet of paper is, just for, like size reference. This is an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. This Google Slides, let's see, where's my setup? I had set this up to be 11 by 15. So I'm trying to think. Yeah, so this is 11 inches this way, and then this is 15. This is about 8.5 inches. This movable ruler has to be aligned with the centimeters that are for reference on each of these slides. So sorry, I keep going back and forth. This is the version that students are going to be using, and this is the version that I'll be sticking with from now on. So this is the direction page. There is a movable ruler on here for students to, see how it works. Then students are going to decide amongst themselves if they want to do set A, B, C, or D. They are going to type their name here so I can go in and see who did which slide or which set to make sure that everyone is contributing to this group effort. Prior to them working on each of their sets, they have to come up with a group hypotheses for what they think they will see from analyzing these blood spatter droplets that are dropped at known heights. So the purpose of this activity is to determine the height from which these blood spatter droplets fell from at the scene. So these are from the scene, these are from unknown heights, that's what we're trying to look for. And to do that, students have to make a standard curve graph based on these 39 droplets that were dropped from known heights. Okay, and the heights are indicated on each of these slips. So this part is editable, I already showed you that. The movable ruler is obviously movable. This chart is also editable, so students can keep track of their data directly on this slide, on the set that they are working on. I do have to say that each of these sets contain a different number of droplets for analysis, and that's because I pretty much just made text boxes going straight across, and that was how things ended up being divided. The smallest number of droplets is 8, and the biggest number is 12. And I have made enough graphs for each of these sets. So you don't have to change anything about these. Students just have to fill them in as they take their measurements. It doesn't matter how they're oriented. Students can orient them vertically or horizontally. They're just measuring the diameter, so it doesn't really matter. Let me just fix that. Okay. After they each get their own data sets, ooh, what is this? Wait, hold on a second. What is this? All right, so after students finish gathering their own set of measurements, they are going to then also find the diameter of the droplets that were found at the scene of Anna's death. I'm going to take notes on each of the diameters here, and then they are going to make a graph, a standard curve graph using Google Sheets, and all of their data combined with all of this information. They are going to copy and paste that graph onto this slide. That way I can see this is the, their cumulative group effort product. And they will also indicate the height range from knowing the diameter of these blood droplets from the scene. They will be able to indicate the range at which the droplets may have fallen from Anna. And here I just have a little note for my students that in addition to this group portion, they have to print out the graph, paste it in their notebook, their physical notebook, and write in their notebook an analysis and conclusion paragraph, which is 2 paragraphs total, that they will then submit separately, showcasing their individual work, their analysis and conclusion. Now I'm going to go to this PowerPoint. This is also from another teacher who shared it on the Facebook PLTW group page. I forgot who it's from, but I am very thankful for this because I have all 3 parts from this one person, and the slides are beautiful. The text is clear, just everything is displayed so perfectly, and I can tell a lot of effort was put into the creation of these slides. So whoever you are, I'm very thankful. I'm going to have students taking notes on each of these slides in their notebook. Here I'm showing you a template, which is a reference that I give the students so they know what goes on to each page, and so they have an idea of how to organize their notes. And so after they take notes, there's 3 pages for this activity. This is the note page. The second page here is where they design their own experiment. Even though they're not able to conduct this experiment in school or at home, they can still design their experiment. So they can still have that discussion of, what's the question at hand. They can still make a prediction with the testable hypothesis in an if-then format, and they can still identify independent and dependent variables, ultimately designing an experiment with this list of materials that they would have used. They can still list personal protective equipment that they would need. So they can still do a lot of this. The only part that they cannot do, obviously, is the conducting part of the experiment. So for that, I just left this page blank and I told students to skip this. They're going to go on to the next slide where I have this question. Was she injured while standing, or did she fall and hit something, hence the blood spatter? And so I have attached this slide here. This is pretty much what I just showed you. So you already know everything students are going to do on this slide as a group. And after that, here I just have further instructions. They're going to use their height determination graph that they make on Google Sheets to determine the height from which the blood fell by referencing the diameter of the spatter droplets from the scene. And so this is the analyzing the data part, the standard curve information, just a hint on how their X and Y axis should look. and then their analysis and conclusion. So here I have instructions for what they have to include in their analysis paragraph, which they're going to do individually. So this is the third page now. They are going to print out and attach their graph that they will also have included on the last slide here. And they will turn this in as a group, but they also have to print out one for themselves to attach in their physical notebook. And 5 and 6, here is their analysis section and their conclusion section. And I'm going to have students take a picture. So what I have here, let's see my assignments. So I have a group portion here and a individual portion here. They're going to be submitting their group portion onto Schoology. Just one person will be uploading their group portion, and then each individual will then take a picture of this one page in their notebook to submit, because usually I collect their notebooks every 3 weeks, or I have them take pictures of their notebooks and put it into one PDF file for me to see their work within 3 weeks. But for this activity, I really want them to, share their analysis and conclusion and have me, immediately look at it. And as I say that, I feel that I might just have them send in pictures of all 3 parts to this activity. As in like all 3 pages to part 3, but we'll see. Okay, so that wraps up this whole 1.14 blood evidence series of activities. Now I'm going to be showing you how I'll have students make their height determination graph. And here I have just a sample set of data. The maximum is going to be 180. And I don't think they are going to have a diameter bigger than 2 centimeters. Yeah, definitely not going to have a diameter bigger than 2 centimeters. So I'm going to take that out and just put like 1.9. Actually, not even 1.9, like 1.56. Yeah, let's do 6. All right, so they are going to use these 2 columns. I think I am going to provide them with this link literally so they can see my sample and also my chart. So here I actually had this chart already made. Here, this information, it's actually a little bit different, but I'm going to be using this to show you guys how to make the chart and how to customize it. This is what it's going to look like ultimately at the end. And students can just make another sheet and put their data point values in these columns and make their own chart. They're not going to be submitting this Google Sheets to me. I don't need a copy of this. I just want their chart. So I just need them to copy and paste. See, is it possible to copy and paste this? I think so. Like copy the chart and bring it back here and paste it. Paste. Actually, they can link it to the spreadsheet. It's fine. So it's gonna look like that. I'm gonna delete that and go back here. And why did it suddenly minimize? Okay, I'm gonna go here and show you how to make a chart. So you're gonna highlight everything. It doesn't matter where you start from. And then you're gonna click Insert Chart. Ta-da! So I'm a little bit picky and I want my students to have specific values, like very small increment values for both the X and Y axis. So I'm going to go to Customize. So it's fine that it's a scatter chart. It should be a scatter chart. These are not connected. It should not be a line graph or anything. I go to Customize. I go to Series first, actually. I do want my students to select data labels and to also select trend line. That is important because this is the best fit line that students will be using to determine the height at which the blood fell from Anna using the known diameter of the blood spatter found at the scene. So I'm going to change the point size to 2 because there's going to be a lot of data points on here, and I mean, they're still visible, so smaller size is better. And then I'm going to go down to grid lines and ticks, and for my horizontal axis, this should go up to 180. So there's a few things I need to do here. The count, let's see if I can make it 10. Okay, so I'm going to make the count 10. That way it shows everything, including 180. And then for the minor spacing type, let's see. It's 140, 160. I think I'm going to have increments of 5 in between each line. So 145, 150, 155. 160, that's 4. So for my minor spacing type, I'm going to put 4. The reason why it's minor is I believe it's just these more subtle lines, unlike the bolder lines with the actual numbers along the the x-axis. And let's see, major grid lines, minor grid lines. So that's good. That's the horizontal axis. I'm going to click on that, and you can move to the vertical axis. And here, I would like, let's see, what if I put 10 here? Yeah, so I would actually prefer 10 just because I can see more of the increments. I can see the increments, the smaller increments. And for the minor spacing, so between 0 and 0.2, I would like to see, 0.1, 0.3. So I'm going to add a minor spacing of 1. And that gives me this more subtle line in between 0 and 0.2, which you can easily see is going to be 0.1, 0.3, 0.5. And it's going to help students when they have this diameter rounded to the 10th place that they can then use to go across this line. Let's go up here. Across this line until they reach the best fit line. The title, I'm going to have them change this to height determination graph. Put this in the center. Oh, I guess it doesn't work this way. It's fine as it is. Or is it here? Oh, it's right here. Okay. Perfect. Oh, one more thing is, here it doesn't start from 0. The x-axis doesn't start from 0, which, let's see. So 20 centimeters is the smallest height at which the blood spatter data was collected from. So in this case, it's fine that they're starting at 20, just it's not going to affect that best fit line in any way, and the best fit line is what we're looking for, so that is totally fine. Hold on one second. This is not what I want for my, this is 140, 145, 150, 140. How is this divided? This is 20, 1, 2, 3, 4. 145, 150, 155, 160. Alright, so I'm going to change the grid lines and ticks for the horizontal axis. Alright, so having 9 of these vertical minor spacings is going to give you like 10 spaces, which means each of these increments is in increments of 2. For the purpose of this activity, I think that is better having a more detailed x-axis, so your determination of the height from the ground is more specific. Sorry about that. I'm going to copy and paste this now. So please bring this here, paste it. Alright, so just for for the sake of seeing everything, I'm going to maximize it like this. And if all of these blood spatter from the scene averaged around, let's just say 1.2, then they are going to be able to indicate that with, well, they can draw a line. So from 1.2, I'm gonna draw a line all the way to, let's see where it meets. I think it meets right here. So that's why having more specific and smaller increments on your x-axis is better for the purpose of this activity. It's easier to find the point at which it meets the best fit line. I'm gonna make that red. All right. And then, so knowing that, you just copy and paste that, change the orientation. And students are going to then place it right there. All right, so this is the best fit line. This is what can be determined to be the height at which the blood fell from Anna. And here in shapes, I'm just gonna use an arrow. And students can write with an average of 1.2 centimeters of blood spatter diameter from the scene. Anna's blood may have fallen from, what is that, 84 centimeters. Okay, so this is what they are going to turn into me as a group. Of course, all of these charts are filled out. Here I'm gonna write average diameter. Where's the thing? Okay. All right. So this is pretty much what I am going to expect from my students as a group. Of course, they have their own individual portions that are in these slides over here. Thank you for watching this video as far as you did. I hope that this was informative and that this will be helpful to you. All the links to this resource, the slides that I'll be using with my students, and what else? Yeah, this is the teacher workspace. The slides I'll be having my students analyze, as well as the height determination data and graph. And I will also link these slides. So these are my notebook templates. I'm just adding to them as I go, but I felt that for this activity in particular, it might be helpful for you to be able to reference what my students are actually doing in their notebook. That way all the instructions are kind of more cohesive and you're not wondering where is she getting that from or where is this going. So yeah, I think that is everything I wanted to share. Thank you for watching this video. If this was helpful to you, please like this video, and if you subscribe, I'll be making more videos like this in the future to just help, everyone during distance learning. It's been fun making these videos and it gives me more motivation. So yeah, thank you for watching.